How sweep it is. What is up? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back and welcome in to the Seattle Mariners post-game recap. Happy Father's Day again to all the dads out there. The Mariners win this one 6-0 against Cleveland this afternoon to complete the three-game sweep. They improved to 36-34 in the season. And if this season ended today, Seattle Mariners would be a playoff team with the third wild card. Before we go any further, as always, do me a favor, like the video, subscribe if you're new or lurking, and don't forget to leave your comments on the team and on the game down below. Baseball is a weird sport, is it not? The Mariners get swept in Arizona. I think it's probably the low point, well, definitely the low point of the season as they dropped under 500. I don't think any of us felt good about where they were at the time. You know, I did the video talking about it, and we were all rightfully frustrated. But baseball's funny, right? You're always, one stretch away from getting right back out of it. And it comes at times you don't expect, right? I mean, that's why it's a surprising streak. And they come back home and sweep a team that has generally given them fits over the years. A team that's in a division that has given the Mariners fits over the years. So, good to see the team come home and get the job done. Like I said this morning, it certainly doesn't undo a lot of the frustrations of the past series, but it does do enough to get us bought back in. And hey, like I said, if the season ended today, they would be in the dance. So that does certainly count for something here. Really impressive series all around for the Mariners, obviously. You had two games, one close one with the wild walk-off against Clase last night, but sometimes you need those, right? Sometimes you got to get those ones. I said that, if this season turns around, that's a game I would look at as a turning point. Then the other two games, the Mariners get really solid pitching and solid offense and great bullpen. You know what I mean? So really an all-around victory today for the team. They put up the 6 runs, only on 5 hits, but they get the big 5-run second. Emerson Hancock was outstanding again today. Boy, I could not have been more wrong after his first start on Emerson Hancock. He has been a savior for the team. If you had to do the Unsung Hero Award at this point in the season, it would definitely go to Emerson Hancock, in my opinion. And yeah, listen, I think we just have to know this team is streaky. It just is what it is. I think for people like myself and anybody that's consistently watching my videos, commenting and everything, we all follow this team day to day, right? It's a daily thing for us. We watch each game. This is a team that probably needs to be viewed, honestly, like every 2 weeks, in 2-week stretches, essentially, because they are just so up and down. It's happened the last couple of years. Doesn't mean that that's a good thing necessarily, but they're just susceptible to stuff like this. In April, there wasn't a game that I didn't feel like they wouldn't come back and win. And now, when we got into May, it felt like no matter what, they were going to lose. That stretch there with being swept by Baltimore, the losing series to the Nationals, even though they won the Twins series, blowing 3 leads in the 9th inning. Then the Arizona series, they just weren't capable of holding a lead in these games. And then they come home like this against Cleveland and really don't have, any issues defeating the Guardians. So it truly is remarkable with this baseball team, how much that there really is just that up and down with them. They are an 8-game win streak. I think the best way to put it is this team at times this year has looked like the best team in baseball. I mean, I'm sure we can debate that, but they've been close to it. And then there's stretches where I swear this team would struggle in a 4-game set with the Rockies to find a split. You'd like to fix that and find more consistency. That's something I've talked about, where you're not always going to be on your game in baseball, but that road trip with the Angels and Diamondbacks, can you make that 1-5, 3-3, even 2-4, right? It sounds like, Jay, that's one more game. That would put them at 37-33, 3 back in the division, a 1.5 game lead in the wild card. It does matter, right? When you're struggling, especially in baseball. Football is so much different because everything's drawn out. It's a shorter season, but you have so much time in between each game to diagnose how the last game went, what you're going to do in the next game, and you have time to sit back and really soak in a win or wallow in a loss. Baseball, you don't have it. You're going to have stretches where you're just not locked in. But instead of those stretches being 1-9 over a 10-game stretch, can you make it 3-7? Doesn't sound like much, but it may be the difference between the playoffs and not the playoffs. And I feel like that's something this team has struggled with just over the past. They looked like they were getting better at it this year. And then they had that really rough stretch where They did go 1-8 over a 9-game stretch, being swept by Baltimore in the dreadful LA Arizona road trip. So, if they can just find a way to win one or two in there more, it's going to help them. And then, being able to have these winning streaks, which we know they're capable of, is going to go a long way. Logan Gilbert back on the bump tomorrow. Excited to see that. My expectations are not super high. The guy hasn't pitched in over a month here, but great to have Logan Gilbert back on the bump. That's going to be tremendous to see. And just listen, I mean, there was a chance there. We saw the forearm tightness that we wouldn't see Logan Gilbert again this season. So no matter what, we do have Logan back on the bump. So looking forward to that. Mariners do catch, I guess you'd call it a bit of a break here, and we'll get into this box score with today's game. Rafael Devers was traded to the San Francisco Giants from the Boston Red Sox. So a Red Sox team that just swept the Yankees, just called up one of their top prospects, Roman Anthony. I don't think he's been hitting well, but maybe, got a little life into that clubhouse and dugout there. And, they've won, I think, 5 out of 6. And I know there were some issues with Devers wanting out. So maybe not the most unexpected thing ever from the Red Sox in that locker room, but that can't have good vibes for them coming into Seattle. So hopefully you can catch them a little bit off guard and maybe get, a couple victories here. You do face Garrett Crochet in game 3, but you got Logan Gilbert, Brian Wu, and Luis Castillo on the bump. You've got your big 3 and another important series coming up for the Mariners. But let's go ahead and dive into this box score. And as far as Devers to the Mariners, John Stanton wasn't going to pay Devers that contract. I mean, it's really not something that, if you guys want to discuss in the comments, go for it. It never even crossed my mind that the Mariners would be in on Rafael Devers, and I'm not sure how much Boston would have been willing to trade him in the American League necessarily. I don't know. I don't think it was even something remotely on the table for the Mariners. So let's get into the box score here. Emerson Hancock, 7 innings, 2 hits, no runs, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. Cannot say enough good things about Emerson Hancock. Boy, was I wrong. I ripped him after that Tigers game, and that I was done with Emerson Hancock, and that I didn't want to see him pitch again for the Mariners. I think I even said at one point that I thought the Pebble, Luis F. Castillo, looked better than Hancock. And hey, I will gladly admit when I'm wrong. I have no problem with it. It happens more often than I'm right usually. But Hancock has been tremendous. And not only, has he been good, but it's really, really lightened the blow of the Bryce Miller frustration this year. And to the point where if I were Bryce Miller, I would just get the surgery, be out for the year. I think I talked about that in my Diamondbacks recap. Hancock's been good enough that you're not... Yeah, I think if both are fully on their games, Miller's the better pitcher. But I don't think you're missing any beat here with Hancock taking Bryce Miller's rotation spot, essentially. Tremendous performance. Yes, I know this Cleveland lineup is not great, but he threw 7 shutout innings against them. You can't get on him for facing a line. And it has Jose Ramirez in it. Carl Santana's swinging the bat well. So there are some dudes in that lineup that can get you. But just incredibly impressive performance by Hancock. The only thing he really hasn't done this year, if you look at his StatCast pages, the whiff, chase rate, and strikeouts haven't been great. But I think he's done enough, right? He's not a strikeout guy per se. He's not going to rack up 10 strikeouts. But there's enough of it in there. And he keeps the ball on the ground. So if you keep the ball on the ground, I think he can get away for sure with less strikeouts. But again, Hancock outstanding. Casey Legumina with a shutout 8th inning, allows a hit and has a strikeout. And Bizarro finishes it off in the 9th inning with a hit and a strikeout. It'll be interesting to see what the roster move is with Logan Gilbert. Legumina is really the only guy with options, but he's been solid for you. Maybe not, he's not amazing, but better than some other guys for sure. Could option him. Zach Pop is up right now. He came up when Logan Evans was optioned. Could DFA him. It kind of stinks that you bring him up, doesn't pitch, and then gets DFA'd. I'm still on the DFA Trent Thornton train at this point. It just doesn't seem like something they want to do. But Thornton didn't pitch in this series. Clearly, the trust with Thornton has to be gone. I know it's tough to DFA guys. I know it's even though it is a business, I'm sure it's tough for them because Thornton's had success here. So I'm sure they don't want to necessarily do that. But they may not have another option here necessarily. So I think it'll probably be Pop, but I'd probably get rid of Thornton here. We're debating bottom of the, bullpen roster moves. I don't think any one of them is going to massively impact the team, but it'll be interesting to see how they handle that. I mean, I guess they could theoretically send Hancock down, but then you have to wait 10 days, so that doesn't seem like a smart idea. And Hancock's been good enough where I want him in the lineup or in the rotation, not missing a start or two. Let's get into the offense. St. Mariners collect 5 hits, 5 walks, and 6 runs. J.P. Crawford with the big blow, the grand salami in the second inning. Was it the second? Yes, it was in the bottom of the second inning. And he had a walk as well. 4 RBIs, Crawford's 6th home run of the season. He goes 1 for 3 with the grand slam and a walk. I mean, the AL is just loaded with shortstop talent. Bobby Witt, Zach Neto's been really good. I think Gunnar Henderson's having a bit of a down year, but still solid. I know I'm missing someone else here, too. And we still have Corey Seager. I know he's been hurt a little bit. Jacob Wilson with the A's. So I don't know, but just going off of JP's numbers, they are all-star deserving, in my opinion. Might be a bit of a logjam to get him in, but JP has been tremendous. Julio 0 for 3 today, was hit by a pitch. Cal 1 for 4. You know, Cal definitely here with the road trip and this homestand. Like I said, not having, you know, the power hasn't really been there as much. But do remember he was robbed of a home run against the Diamondbacks, and he is still finding ways on base in some of these games. So it's not that Cal isn't contributing. He did DH today, so should be good to go to catch most of the series, gets that half day off. Polanco 0 for 4. Randy Arozarena technically 0 for 0. 3 walks and a hit by pitch. So, I mean, it's kind of what Randy does, right? Gets on base 4 times. And again, you know, I always talk with Randy that, and listen, he's had a nice turnaround here since that Angels series. Really has been much better. But when he puts up, like, good numbers, it's hard to see it because it's a lot of times it's games like this where it's 3 walks and a hit by pitch. Randy's on base 4 times. But, like, you read the box, like, oh, I didn't really notice it necessarily. So, and I don't mean that as an insult. It's actually a compliment. But, you know, when you see Randy have that, like, 120 WRC plus, and you go, how did that happen? This is how it happened. Rowdy Tellez was 1 for 4 with a double. Mitch Garver, well, you know, 1 for 4 with the RBI single. I will say the strikeouts that Garver had were bad. You know, they had the second and third, nobody out in the second inning there. Garver struck out. Luckily, Canzone, Mastroboni, and then obviously JP came through for the ball club there to deliver. But that was a brutal at-bat for Garver. Again, glad he found the base hit later in the game to help open it up a little bit more. Listen, you know, as long I'll say, like, I'm done. It's, you know, I'm ready to move on from Garver, but I'm not going to certainly get on Dan for him playing as long as he's on the roster. Cal can't catch every single game, so Garver does certainly have to play for sure. Dominic Canzone 0 for 3 with the walk. I thought the walk was a really solid at bat there by Canzone. I've been really impressed with the at bats by Dom. He seems like someone that's going to start getting some hits here, and he's had some hits, but even more so, like. His approach looks much better. He's not swinging as wildly as he has in the past. I don't know. I've been impressed with Canzone. Listen, he's played in 5 games since coming back, so don't, you know, get the parade going yet necessarily, but he has certainly looked much, much better here of late. And then Miles Mastroboni 1 for 4 with an RBI single. Big single there, right? Bases loaded, gets the ball rolling on the big inning. For the Seattle Mariners. So nice job by Mastroboni as Williamson and Cole Young both had the day off today. So the offense gets it done, right? Again, kind of the way the Mariners are built. I'm not saying they're built to score 6 runs every day, but get some guys on base with their 5 walks and 2 hit by pitches, so 7 free passes. Get the big home run. We know the team can slug when they're on, and then you get a great pitching performance. You know, maybe coming into the year, it wasn't expected that JP be getting the grand slam to get 7 shut innings from Emerson Hancock necessarily, but still making sure that you are getting, or not making sure, but getting that performance that you thought the team was capable of. Starting to get healthy. Logan Gilbert back tomorrow. Luke Raley on the mend. 3-game winning streak. Team is in a playoff spot. Doesn't mean there aren't legitimate frustrations. There are 100%. I've had them too. So again, if you're like, listen, we've all watched this team for 30 years. Like, I get it, but they're in a good spot. They actually are. They're in a decent spot. Maybe goods. I mean, they'd be in the playoffs, so that is a good spot. But you know what I mean, right? Like, they're not 15 games over 500 rolling, but they're in a position that if some things break right, they can make the right moves, get guys going, get guys healthy, they can make a run at this. So hopefully it continues tomorrow with the Devers-less Red Sox. Have a great Father's Day to all the dads. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, everybody. Great win. Like, comment, subscribe. And as always, go Mariners. Peace.